Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to episode 53 of the Sofa Manager Scottish Football Podcast. We've taken a couple of weeks off to enjoy this sweltering heatwave that's come across the nation. Hottest May Day ever, I think, which we've been enjoying very, very much. And we've also been watching some exciting football. So on this week's episode, I'm going to talk about my experience at my first ever amateur game, and the one or two blunders I made announcing that, as you would expect from myself. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Also went to the Stirling Albion Peterhead playoff game. I thought I'd piggyback on someone's success and see what the experience was like going to another team's playoff match. I think we're oohing and eyeing about whether to go to the Livingston Dundee United Premier League playoff game this Friday, so we'll see if that happens. Anyway, and also our usual features such as the news. So joining myself, Scotland's ropiest announcer Paul Menzies. On tonight's show, it is Scottish footballing expert John Van Bruni.
Oh,
John Van Bruni, sorry. I don't know where that came from.
Well, he's been quiet this week, so we haven't got a lay-in.
Oh dear, it's been absolutely crazy. Seen much football this week, John?
Nah, just the Champions League.
Oh, very exciting. We're going to have a Scotsman in the final.
Indeed.
First time since who, do you think?
Paul Lambert.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Who?
Darren Fletcher.
No, he never played him.
Never played. He was there.
Unused sub.
He was there. I did not know that. Anyway, let's get straight on with it. So, first things first, I guess, the news. We've been off this sort of airwaves for a little while. I guess the first news piece to cover this week is that all of our YouTube videos have been privated. We've been receiving some trolling actually from John Brown himself. He can't stop commenting abusive comments on our own podcast.
Bomber Brown is just a joke.
No, it's not quite that bad. But if you are on Instagram and you do see comments from a Bruni, you know that it's trolling from our very own host across from me. But have no fear, they will be back up by the end of next week, hopefully. We're just having some privacy issues at the moment in the workplace, but that'll all be sorted by next week. And in the meantime, of course, all these episodes on Mixcloud. Anyway, to the actual news features. I think the comments this week revolved a lot around the still game comments and stuff like that. Like what's happened to the YouTube tam and things like that from loyal listener, and I hope I don't get this wrong, Mark Tracy 77. I think I'm correct in saying, who wanted a wee shout out. So shout out to you, Mark, for keeping us honest. Don't worry, we are still alive and kicking, and we appreciate everyone's obviously support and things. So like and subscribe if you do enjoy, helps us a lot. Anyway,
you don't know your plug-in now.
I have. Got to get it out of the way early. We don't do it enough. Steven Gerrard.
Hey, Gerrard. There's no a Ger.
Is now a Ger. Weirdly, I heard the Liverpool fans were chanting it against Chelsea. They were going, Steve Gerrard. I don't know if that was a message of support or whatever. Couldn't work that one out. But, and I know we're a bit behind on this. Are we a bit behind? It was only at the weekend it was announced, wasn't it?
Yes. No, if it was last Friday.
Thoughts, John?
Lol. Oh dear.
I mean, I can see why everyone's very excited about this. This is the biggest name we have in Scottish football at the moment, I would say.
No, Brendan Rodgers is a bigger name than Steve Gerrard.
He's not a bigger name than Steve Gerrard. Round the world,
maybe in that regard.
It's going to be Steven Gerrard. His first managerial appointment for a professional football team. In my opinion, a risky move. But, I think we start on the positives. What does he bring to the table?
A contacts list book is probably longer than your arm.
Well, I think that's the thing. He's rumoured to be linked with stars such as Martin Skirtle, the young defender that they need. And I saw the name Fernando Torres being floated about, although I think the MLS, is the more likely option for him.
He's on his way to New York.
There you go. But,
that's the rumour.
It's interesting that these names are being floated about. It will be interesting to see what he does with the team. Could we see a Trent Arnold-esque player on loan next season? Or
he's going to have to absolutely gut that squad, top to bottom.
Well, he made the sensible decision in not taking it over now.
Yeah, that's probably a fair enough assumption. Just to see it all collapse and then take it from the ruins.
Well, I don't know that the win at the weekend, still puts them in good stead for a European spot, which is, I think, the bare minimum they're going to be looking for here.
Yes, but he's not going to be there to actually take them on in the European ties in the first qualifying round.
Oh, he must be.
He'll be in Russia doing the commentary. Yes, he's not taking the role until the middle of July.
Is he not?
They'll be to Europe by then.
Well, good old Jimmy Nicholl can continue on his dream job there, despite the fact I don't really actually know what he's doing. But yeah, it's the contacts. But personally, I wasn't that impressed with the way he was speaking in interviews and things like that. It was
very crass, especially on the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday night, Wednesday night. The Real Madrid game was a Tuesday, and Gary Lineker asked him direct, what's this about the Rangers job? And he was quite kind of blunt. He was a bit, effectively, it's my job if I want it type stuff, which I thought was a wee bit. I didn't like it personally. It showed a slight lack of class. That,
I mean, the first time he's been put in a situation like this,
I don't think he's handled it well. It's hard to say. Once he got the job, everything's been fine. It's been quite quiet.
Yeah,
for obvious reasons. That he isn't actually in charge. But I just think it's just a weird appointment. There was better managers out there for probably less money.
It's a risk. And I think when you're taking a risk, you don't give a manager a 4-year contract. And they've been burned by this a lot recently. And Rangers Football Club right now do not have the money to be giving away in compensation to a manager who might not pan out halfway through next year. Then you're going to have to pay him off for another 3.5 years.
Well, that's it. And it all depends on what promises they've made him as well. And if he was gullible enough to believe them. There is no way Rangers will have enough money to chase Celtic. There's no chance.
I mean, it's a massive undertaking. It's an undertaking that requires a lot of work in the summer. I think rumours of people like Tavernier leaving.
That'll be a brand new squad. It has to be.
But you're not going to do anything with a brand new squad again. And Rangers fans demand success immediately. You don't get, the time that you would at other clubs.
I mean, I do wonder if you take the league out of the equation, if even just winning a cup, whether it's the league or Scottish. Would kind of alleviate the pain for at least a season until Gerrard gets his feet under the table a little bit more, gets to grips with first team management.
That's still brutally hard because it's been Celtic.
Well, that means Celtic's only, say they win the league next season.
Yes,
they are only one away from equaling 9 in a row. What kind of impact does that have?
It's twitchy time.
They're effectively there at that stage.
Well, we'll wait and see, but it's got a lot of Rangers fans very, very excited. Again, I say with caution, all the best to him, but I think it's a very difficult dressing room.
I think it's a damn fool.
Okay, John, let's present both our optimism and our pessimism.
No, there's no point.
I think it's a very difficult dressing room to handle because you saw with Murty, a few of those egos thought that they were bigger than him, threw the toys at the pram, and the team's now in turmoil. Frankly, I've not seen the highlights of the game at the weekend, but, a 1-0 victory against Kilmarnock, which I think is their first of the season. Not a rasping result.
A very flat performance as well.
Well, they're just ticking by until the end of the season.
For Kilmarnock, definitely. For Rangers, they still are in for second. They've got Aberdeen next.
Yes, on Tuesday, which is a big game.
Huge game. Pittodrie.
Yes. It's big games all round though, because now that Aberdeen and Hibernian have played each other, that came to nothing.
Well, that's it. I mean, Rangers now have to play Aberdeen and Hibs as their next two games. If they drop points in either of those games, they're out of the race.
I think the huge advantage Hibs have at the moment was getting those points against Celtic, because you can
it's unexpected.
You can assume that Aberdeen aren't going to get points against Celtic. It would be a miracle. Rangers didn't get their points against Celtic, so it's now crucial for Aberdeen to get the points against Rangers, and it's in Hibs' hands as to, because they'll probably beat Hearts. You would assume so. I cannot remember if that's at Easter Road or Tynecastle. I don't think it really matters at this stage. I think it's at Tynecastle. I think. Don't quote us on that in the comments, I suppose.
It may be Easter Road. They've only played one game at Easter Road.
You would assume that Hibs would beat Hearts. I know Hearts will be up for it, but they've looked rank rotten for this entire top six spell. Although that game against Kilmarnock last week with Hibs and Kilmarnock was insane. Goal. And it was like third on Sportscene, and I was like, what? This is a tremendous game that, every highlight was a goal. I feel a bit sorry for Kilmarnock because their runs kind of come to an abrupt halt.
They've done everything they wanted to this season, realistically.
Finishing above Hearts is a tremendous achievement for them. So, yeah, I think in Hibs' hands, second, really.
I think so, because they will be playing Rangers at home. They are playing Hearts, who aren't in great form. They have the voodoo sign over them. You would fully expect Hibs to get 6 points in the next 2 games.
Well,
and do it. Now, to be honest, I kind of hope they do, because Aberdeen need to get a grip. And it's funny as anything with Rangers.
I'm still angling for where I was laughed at the start of the season. My prediction to be Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs. I would love it if that were to actually happen. Of course, Kilmarnock are the red herring that totally scunners all of our predictions. But we shall wait and see what happens. Very exciting times. And at the bottom of the table, it's going to be Partick or Dundee. It could still be Hamilton. I think Hamilton will be alright.
Dundee are safe.
Yeah.
Completely safe. Barring a ginormous goal swing and...
who actually cares about Dundee though?
They're alright. I think Neil McCann's got another kind of a reasonably big job in his hands, keeping a hold of players rather than bringing guys in.
I think you're going to be really hard pressed to actually progress with that club, the way it stands at the moment, because they are on the brink of financial struggle.
They always are, but it's the stadium that kind of drags them down. It costs a fortune to keep it running. It's the same with Tannadice. The pair of them, are Dundee in particular, sliding down a hill. If you ever go to Dens, you always get the impression it's just ready to fall away.
Go to the sea.
It's funny as anything. I don't know. I think Neil McCann's actually done a reasonably good job, considering that they were pretty much relegated last season.
He saved them.
And I was going to say steadied the ship. He's learning as he goes along.
He's rocking the boat on a semi-consistent basis. I think his foe over at St Johnstone, pumping the well. Yes, I hate Motherwell. Absolutely hate Motherwell. They got beat 5-1 at home by St Johnstone. That doesn't bode well for the cup final, does it?
The defending was shocking in that. Horrendous.
Hat-trick for Stephen McLean?
I can understand why Levine signed him now.
Well, what is that? He's going to be 36, 37 when he moves.
Is he?
Aye.
Why is he moving?
Well, I mean, it's a fantastic move for him.
But why?
And to be fair, Levine's actually been quite... I don't know, but he's made a lot of pre-contract signings, so he's getting his business done nice and early.
Yes. I don't think he'll last, but there we go.
Well, Stephen McLean.
Well, Stephen McLean and Craig Levine.
Well, I don't know. I think McLean's going to be a backup. I really can't see him playing in the first team.
It's maybe a coach thing.
Maybe, but...
They've already got John Daly in there.
Well, we know, looking at their signings last season, Cole Stockton is someone we kept an eye on. Do pretty averagely. And it could be another one of them. And they have a lot of building to do in that squad. It's filled with a lot of youth, which hasn't really got them anywhere in recent times.
It's kind of what I think. Being at Murrayfield for the first half of the season has hampered them a little bit. And they have brought in some sort of reasonable youngsters. They kind of tailed off. I mean, Harry Cochrane looked great for the first 3 or 4 games.
Got injured and...
Aye, kind of drifted away a wee bit. I think he needs to be taken out of the limelight for a while. Brought back in later on. But to be fair to him, Mitchell, that he got from Man United, Man City.
Demi Mitchell.
Brilliant.
He won
Brilliant.
He won United's Reserve Player of the Year.
Oh, he's absolutely outstanding.
So I think there's a future for him in that first team, akin to Patrick or McTominay. What's his first name? Scott McTominay, there you go. So interesting stuff there. It bugged me on the television coverage at the weekend. They were talking about Tynecastle's a new ground. It's like, shut up. They built one new stand. And then they're like coming for a new tour of the new, and it was just a changing room, which is in the old stand.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you've shown me nothing here.
Nah, it's just pointless.
And it was really drab. Really, really drab, to be honest. But anyway, at the moment we are in the midst of the end of season playoff games. Lots of excitement going on. Do you like the playoffs, John?
Some of them are good.
Well,
watching Dunfermline get beat is always a bonus.
Was that on the telly?
No, but I watched the highlights.
Aye, highlights only. We only kick in television coverage for the semi-finals of the playoffs in the Premier League,
which is a joke because the bigger game is actually in the quarterfinals this time.
What, with the Dunfermline Dundee United?
It's a bigger game than
there'll be more. There would have been more people at it, yes, than there will be at the Livingston game. But no, as Falkirk didn't go to the playoffs this year, it's not he. Stay tuned. Season review will be recorded next Sunday.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah, that's a fixed date. So we'll get our dossier together for that. But as they weren't in the playoffs this year, I needed something to keep my interest. So doing the announcing at Stirling Albion, I thought I'll go along and support them against Peterhead. And it was it was a good experience. Very interesting playoff game, but Peterhead's a much stronger team. Match day experience was great though. You rock up to the stadium, a nice steward guiding you into some free parking, but a stone's throw away from the stadium. Fantastic.
How novel is that?
Well, though? I know. I was like, this would never happen anywhere else. Take a wee wander around the ground. I only got charged a student. So do you know how much that game was?
£6.
It was like £9.
Was it?
Aye.
That's not bad.
I gave them a tenner expecting to give them 3 more, and she gave me £1 back. I was like,
woofed.
Alright. And even at £13, that's pretty good value for a football match. Well, it's not a lot. Well, compared to what you would usually pay these days for a full adult ticket. Straight through the door, and they got like the wee merchandise as you go through the door, which I think is quite good. I mean, it was only polo shirts and stuff because it's the end of the season. But I was like, that's quite good. Just, for merchandise you have to pay to get in, so put it behind some sort of paywall. I rock up, seats were good, and a great community atmosphere that, you don't really experience at the bigger games. Mm-hmm. Say, everyone's just kind of chatting away about, how folk have done this season and hurling abuse like there's no tomorrow. And it is strong abuse.
Good.
Akin to what the swearing Ayr United man on a certain Twitter video put up this week. But no, the game was alright. It's not the finest quality. I've seen some highlights. Some of the Falkirk legends turning out in style. We had Darren Barr captaining Stirling Albion.
Oosh.
Played well. David McCracken of Cracks Fit barely lasting the first half, which I found a little bit ironic. Thought he played alright. And a guy called Simon Ferry, or Cy Ferry, who does the open goal sport stuff on YouTube, like all the interviews and stuff, which I thought was quite good. If he was going to run over, I was going to hurl some abuse at him, like, get back on the internet, YouTube, which was going to be there you go, it was going to be my crack, but he never did anything that controversial. Quite a small guy, defensive midfielder, didn't really affect the game hugely, I thought, but it was interesting to see. And then, of course, for Peterhead, the great, infamous Rory McAllister.
What could have been?
No. Watching him at that level, he does look level above. Like, just his pace, his movement. I know he's chosen. Where do they train?
Peterhead. Well, he's from Peterhead. He lives and works in Peterhead.
I've got a feeling they train in Glasgow, though, some of them and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So that was cool to see them, but Peterhead, better team. Only 1 goal, which was a bit of a letdown. It was a bit of a scruffy goal. Stirling had their chances, but their top player of the season, Darren Smith, top scorer in the league, was on the bench. And I was like, why would you have your top player on the bench? And I realised the PFA awards were like 2 days before.
A 2-day hangover?
I think he was on, well, no, not a 2-day hangover, but a 2-day bender. It's probably what happened there. Because he came on, looked a little bit lethargic.
Worse for wear.
To say the very least. Some of the comments, though, were pretty good, like number 6 for Stirling, Kevin Moon, and they were talking about Moon going into space, was one of their favourite lines. So that was a bit of a good crack on a nice evening. I think my lesson is you don't go to the first playoff leg, because there's not...
A bit cagey.
Yeah, it is a bit cagey. And you see it in the first legs of Champions Leagues, things like that as well. And it doesn't have the same effect when it's not your team. And I think the Stirling fans didn't fully believe. I think their record against Peterhead this season hasn't been great.
Well, they scraped in, didn't they, on the last day?
They did. Peterhead were some margin ahead.
Because they just missed out in the league.
Yes, on the last day of the season, yes.
Of the season. It was almost by goal difference as well.
I think it was a point. I think their goal difference was much stronger or something like that, because they drew with Alloa.
They could have won the league. I'm trying to think. Montrose drew.
Who did they draw with? Was it Break? No, someone mince. But speaking of large points differences in playoffs, Wraith Rovers are out. 15 points ahead of Alloa Athletic this season.
Look, we bought was crashing.
Well, I mean, I have my sources at a certain restaurant on the south side of the Forth of the Dutch nature. That the Wraith chair people fully expect them not to go through, because they just don't have the performances in the playoffs for some reason.
They've never won a playoff game.
Never. Man, just rebrand them Wraith Hibernians then, eh?
I will.
But that is devastating, to run Ayr United that close, and again that came down to...
And they had it with in their hands.
Yeah,
the last
they
day
did.
of the season.
Oh no, they drew with Alloa, didn't they?
Yeah.
and it was Ayr United that won the league, they must be absolutely devastated.
Hugely, and it's a big financial issue for them as well.
Well, they went full time, I think, didn't they? One of the full time teams down there.
It was between them and Ayr, the two full time teams. Quite whether they'll stay full time or not, I don't know. I don't know what constitutes being full time wage wise.
Well, I don't know what percentage of the team would be full time, or whether they would all be full time.
They could go partial.
How that would work, I don't know. But Alloa Athletic always been quite strong in that league, on the fringes of the Championship for a while.
The proverbial yo-yo club.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they make it up. They're going to have a tough time against Dumbarton. Dumbarton are hanging on for their dear life.
They didn't cruise by Arbroath.
They didn't, and I think they've got a lot of injury issues.
Yes.
Which will hinder them. However, they are a better team, you would imagine,
than Alloa. I'm sure. Is it still the Baldy man that's manager at Alloa? Is it Jim Goodwin?
It's the will be Jim Goodwin.
Alloa's quite a good wee job for managers actually to get their start.
Mm-hmm.
So we wish them all the best. It'd be nice to have a change from Dumbarton in the Championship.
I hate going to Dumbarton. I don't like going to Alloa much either.
Well, it's close there. They need a better stadium, Alloa. Is it not the Restoration Shed Stadium or something like that? What's it?
The Indoor Drill,
sorry, aye. maybe
some foundation.
Maybe if you got some sponsorship from a shed company, you might actually get some upgrades to that place. Just saying. So, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. But one thing about these championship, or just the playoff games in general, is the scheduling's like all over the shop.
Just a mess again.
You've got 2 or 3 days between some games. Some games are played the night before in the same league, and then after.
And half of them aren't on telly. Some of them are. The championship, the Premiership ones.
Yeah,
I hate the wording as well. It's a real pain. It's just all over the shop with no consistency.
The problem is, like, when you look up the scores and things, it's nippy because the current, like, that Dundee United Livingston game to take place tonight will be under the Premier League playoffs,
banner, yep.
Even though it feels like a championship game.
It is a championship game.
So it's tricky, and the Premier League one especially, because they're still playing their season. We are playing our playoffs in quite quick succession.
Yep, because it'll be the last game it will be the last game of the Premiership.
Yeah.
Next weekend, even though there's midweek fixtures, which is just crazy.
A lot of teams playing on Sunday, I think, again playing on Tuesday.
There'll be, I'm sure, because half of the league finishes on the Saturday and half of the league finishes on the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And then the following week's the Scottish Cup final, with the playoff final finishing on the Sunday.
Yes, it's the day after, which is ridiculous.
Because you would feel like it's been like that for the last couple of seasons, but you fully expect your season to finish on Cup final day.
Yes.
That's tradition, and it's how it should be.
It's not the way it is though anymore, because I think the Premier League and stuff goes beyond.
They could play it on the Friday night. They could play the playoff on the Friday night.
Could do.
But that has to rejig your entire schedule working back the way.
Yeah. But then it's weird. I think some of the teams are playing Monday, Friday this week. Like,
Friday, Monday. Dundee United will be Friday, Monday, and then they'll be back on to play Friday again. No, they'll play Thursday.
Yeah, and then Sunday. But see, I don't know. You don't build up much tension. It's like bam, bam, and it's gone. Like 2 days. There's no even time to think about it. There's no any time to celebrate. John's looking quizzical.
I'm trying to figure that out. So Dundee United must have played.
They beat Dunfermline on Friday.
They beat them Thursday night.
No,
they didn't. Can't remember.
Thursday or Friday.
Thursday or Friday night. Then played Monday. So
Yes.
they're playing tonight, Livingston.
And then they play Friday.
They play Friday again. So then they'll need to play Friday, Tuesday. No, it's been a Thursday. It's Thursday, Sunday's the last 2 games.
Oh.
Sorry, listeners. This is really.
Basically, Dundee United are going to be dead by the time they end up playing this Premier League team.
Fundamentally.
Because they'll have played 4 games in the space of 2 weeks, plus an extra 2. So
it's 4 games in 10 days.
Well, it'll go to 6.
And we'll go to 6 games in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Which is ridiculous.
And they're all high profile blood and guts fixtures.
I know. On telly, I believe at half time against Dunfermline, Willow Flood absolutely went through them. And that's the only reason they kind of bucked up their act to kind of get through. Because if they don't make it up this season, they've had it.
Oh, they're doomed.
They've absolutely had it. I think a few players on their way out as well. I saw that boy Scott Fraser's linked with Hearts and Blackpool. I thought it was interesting. I've never really rated him.
He's okay. He's got a bit of pace. I actually quite. He's one of the few standouts in that Dundee United team.
So again, the few stars they have left will be breaking away if they don't go up. So how do you think the Livingston match is? I don't think Livingston will win that.
Well, I do.
Do you?
Absolutely. I think it'll be a very tough game tonight. Dundee United might edge it 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a draw, but I still think Livingston will beat Dundee United. Going into that fourth game, given the physicality of Livingston, they'll just beat it out of them.
Well, they got the goal scoring threat now in the likes of Ryan Hardy.
And Lee Miller.
Lee Miller, aye. He could do a job.
Imagine Lee Miller getting promoted this season.
That'd be mortifying.
Both Miles Hippolyte and Lee Miller getting promoted.
It could have been worse. It could have been Dunfermline, which part of me kind of expected to happen. I was actually surprised.
Well, did you watch the highlights?
No.
Oh, they were 1-0 up. Fair play. What an absolute terrific goal celebration.
Yeah.
They were in the shed.
There was a lot. I think they had the shed and then some of the main...
top tier of the old main stand.
Aye.
Fair play, great crowd. Don't know why Dundee United never gave us the shed, but there you go. Go figure.
Well, they just gave you the stand, eh?
Gave us a side stand. But anyway, that's beyond the point.
By the by.
Terrific support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to give them credit for that. I think it was number 9, Nicky Clark.
Yeah.
Was 1-on-1. He could have put it to either side of the goalkeeper. He could have squared it for Fraser Aird, and he just blasted it straight at the keeper. That was 1-0 up. They could have been 2-0 up.
And that would have been...
in the first half. That
very
would have
difficult.
That would have been curtains for United.
Shame, but these...
Tough luck.
It's how it goes, isn't it? And you're devastated after 2 games. That's really weird. I just find that sometimes it feels like it's tacked on at the end of the season, just like...
It feels different because we're not involved.
Maybe. There's so little that actually happens these days as far as promotions and relegations are concerned. So, as far as the last league position is concerned, Cowdenbeath drawing 0-0 with Cove Rangers at Cove Rangers. So you might expect Cowdenbeath
be okay.
just to survive and no more.
Damn it.
They might just have... I would love Cove to go up. It's a team with investment, a decent fan base. I think Cowdenbeath do alright with fan base as well, to be fair, in that sort of level.
400 or 500 at the very most.
But that's not bad.
But the thing is, though, it's a crying shame if they do stay up. And I don't mean that disrespect Cowdenbeath as an institution. It's just, they've been kind of lingering about the bottom for a while now, and it's the same with the Shire. A decent club and all that, but
playing at the Falkirk Stadium next year.
Might go to a few of those games.
I don't know.
But that's beside the point. For Cowdenbeath, you just feel like maybe going down and having a real hard look at yourselves might help.
Just take a chill. Take your time.
They're playing in a crumbling wreck of a stadium that's mostly used for stock car racing.
Yeah.
They really need to have a real...
A lot of zoomers there.
You have to kind of look at it. It's not sustainable.
No. And Cove Rangers, a lot of investment. But we live on competition, so we'll see who prevails there. Anyway, to some exciting competitions also. I have in front of me the programme from the Cup Final I did a couple of weeks ago, which of course is the East of Scotland Amateur Cup Final 2018. Wow. My first ever amateur football game, discarding my days as a school footballer, I suppose. It was very exciting. We had a good crowd there. I think nudging 1,000 people maybe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, main stand was more packed than it would be for a Falkirk game. Right. They were all hemmed in, obviously, to the kind of main parts. But very exciting. I helped clear up at the end. I jokingly said to the steward, "Ha, you needing a hand?" "Oh yeah, that would actually be quite helpful." I was joking. So wandering around, and honestly, see the amount of cans of Kronenberg, and every time you found a Buckfast bottle, it was like a jewel. And that way, it's found another one. And of course, I was like, "Are you allowed booze at these games?" No, no, you are not. But it was there, and it was a great. Well, it was good crack. I would say the game. Good crack. The lads were all out on the pitch, before kick-off. They were all excited to be at a football stadium, I think, to play their game as well. A few of them remarking that I looked like one of their sons. Pre-kick-off, I was like, thanks. Due to my young and fresh appearance, of course, John. Because some of these were old guys.
Oh, bet.
Some of them not in their youth. I mean, it was St Bernard's Amateur Football Club against Fallin Amateur Football Club. St Bernard's of kind of Edinburgh sort of way. They have a bit of investment behind them. They actually won the Scottish Cup in professional form in the sort of 1940s, 50s, akin to the time that East Fife were winning it.
St Bernard's.
St Bernard's, aye.
Who tell you that?
It was on Wikipedia. They have won it. So, like back in the day.
It must have been right back in the day.
Well, it was right back in the day. Now, not at the heights they used to be, but a lot of investment. People like Derek Riordan playing. He wasn't playing in the squad.
Superstar.
Well, he's not that old. He's actually only like 30, 34 or something.
It just shows you how far he can fall.
Only the mighty have fallen. Gary O'Connor, rumoured to be signing. It's not quite happened yet. But, they were the much stronger team,
With his Russian doctor.
Well, again, a bit of a funny one. I think he had problems with alcohol and stuff, O'Connor, didn't he?
It's all.
Well.
If you take all your blood and put it back in again, it comes in clean.
I know, he was saying that. No, they actually did used to do that in Russia. And
yep.
The rules aren't so clear. I think he was saying he got to the UEFA Cup semi-final with them or something like that. I
wouldn't be surprised. They probably can't remember it, but...
He didn't play that many games for them. Not that much of a success. Anyway, he's back here now. Possibly playing for St Bernard's. What other names do I recognise here? Paul Dixon was a familiar name. Don't know if it's the same one I remembered.
A pundit on BBC?
I don't know.
Ex-Arsenal legend.
Well, wasn't that Paul Dixon then? There was a few names. Fulham didn't really have anybody. But I think in terms of the quality of the game, I've now been to this season Premiership, Championship, League 2 and Amateur. And in terms of, if I look in the last few weeks, in terms of matchday experiences, like a Falkirk game versus the Stirling Albion game versus the Aberdeen Cup semi-final, and that amateur game, I would say the amateur game was probably first or second in terms of quality. Or in terms of interest to watch.
Right.
Final scoreline, 4-1. Decent goals. Direct, which is what I like to see. The guys were just running at folk, which is something we miss.
Yep.
The pace of the game was pretty decent. Sometimes the ball got caught under feet a lot, and it kind of got a bit of a slog that way. But there wasn't the air ball we were used to. The Aberdeen game, or that we see at Falkirk games quite a lot. Much more on the ground. And because it was a cup final, it was a really, really, really good occasion. Got them to lift the cup to this girl, which was good. Went down nicely. Going to Twitter, and you can see it on the RGM East of Scotland Cup, my announcing abilities. But it was very exciting. The guy that delivered the arrangement for me, so like the awards sort of. So you had the referees, the away team, the managers, then the winning team.
Yep.
There was a smell in his breath of some jovial celebrations that night.
MD?
Well,
no,
MD reserved exclusively for Hearts' finest footballers. So I was impressed they conducted themselves so professionally, but crowds were fantastic. And again, it was just that community feel of, the lads came up and celebrated with everybody after the match in the stand, and it was really, really nice. The fact that you knew everybody on first name, they were kind of responding to folk in the crowd, like, there was thumbs up or like, for abuse and stuff like that. Not quite to, of course you were at St Mirren game. James Fowler was argued for about 5 minutes with a fan in the stand.
Nice.
But we're like, why? Just get yourself away, you bleep. So that was very, very exciting. Well, that was very good. I would go again, quite happily.
Just to the final though.
Probably just at the final. But see, to be honest, like, I'm so hard pushed to see the difference in quality between some of these players sometimes. And it is there. And I watching that sort of game, I just wondered to myself how the scouts do it. How do they pick out, better from worse?
It'll just be trial and error for the most part.
Well,
they'll see something we don't, as we're always told. Managers know best.
Well,
in the case of Alex Harris, and fans know best.
Well, his Kickstarter taking time. That was the interesting thing about the Falkirk game, last game of the season, as we were waiting for them through the doors.
Did they come back out for a kind of round of applause?
No, not
really.
I'm
not surprised.
It was all done and dusted. St Mirren stuck about for a bit, but nothing major. But it was cold in the stand, so we were out waiting because there was a big do for all the volunteers after. And it was funny to see them all come out to their wives and girlfriends, and you're judging, like going, that's a 4, that's a such, and then a certain defender came out and we're like, oh my goodness, that is a 10, absolute 10, and we're like, how on earth? This woman was absolutely immaculate.
Paul Watson?
It wasn't Paul Watson. It was not Paul Watson. He didn't have anyone waiting for him. why these footballers get these amazing women, I do not know how.
Because there's footballers in the
But
game.
the women aren't interested in football. Like,
It doesn't matter.
well, very jealous of this footballer. Did anyone else have any talented? There was no bald man that came out. We didn't know who he was, but his wife was stunning, and we were like, how did he do that? Must have been one of the board members. He must have been loaded or something.
Money or more.
couldn't quite work that out. But no, we'll be judging your wags, Falkirk Bairns, and come the new season to see if there's been any improvements over the summer, the transfer deadline day. I know that's a big thing on Scott Mill's show and stuff like that. I guess the relationship deadline day.
Good times.
We could have the same sort of thing. But no, where on earth was I? Amateur football, wags, Falkirk Football Club.
Your quality comparison.
Quality
just kind of waning.
Well, no, I couldn't. I can't see the difference between these. A lot of football I've watched this season. I'm getting tired.
I've kind of grown on board it a wee bit.
It's a bit much. That was another thing. The Stirling Albion, they had a different announcer, so I was like, I can compare and contrast notes. So music choice was quite good. It was actually chosen by the fans, which I thought was quite a nice addition. And he fluffed some of the substitutions as well, which I'm really pleased with because it's really difficult.
So it's not just you.
It's not just me, exactly. To be fair, what was one of the substitutions? It was one of the Peterhead boys, and he fluffed it in quite a good way because he said coming on number 10, Karim Belmokhtar, and I was like, that's a really good name, and it was the wrong name, but I was like, if you were going to pick a name, that's the best one to fluff it with. So well done there. It's not just me. I will make a video sometime in the summer of the difficulties a stadium announcer faces, because if you do it well, nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares. If you do it badly, mostly nobody cares, but some people are just like...
Some people are picky.
Some people are very picky. And that was the thing about the Amateur Cup final, was they were so drunk, it didn't matter. And when it was the cup lift was, this girl, so the background's like just the chilled kind of guitar, and I left the trumpets out deliberately, and then when they left the cup, it's like and they're all singing away to that for 5 seconds, then it stops, and I'm like, well, that was that. Fade into We Are the Champions and Celebrate Good Times. Come on, by Kool and the Gang. Is it Kool and the Gang?
Kool and the Gang.
Kool and the Gang. So that was lovely, and it rounds off our football for the summer, I suppose.
Bring on the Betfred Cup.
We love the Betfred Cup here at Sofa Manager. We are rejuvenated at that point. We love covering obscure European Europa League qualifiers, which we will be straight back to next season. So stay tuned for that. We'll of course have our season reviews coming up as well.
Falkirk reviews.
We'll review Falkirk. We'll probably whiz through Premiership and Championship in a little bit of detail, and probably our European leagues as well. Keep us fresh.
Yeah, why not?
See any of El Clasico this week?
I did watch most of it. Good game.
That was alright. I only saw the goal highlights after. Messi and Bale's goal was fantastic.
Bale's goal, just to take it first time, was just sublime. I mean, this is a guy who's been in the shadows near enough all season and can still do that.
Is he going to come back in the summer?
Probably not.
You don't think so? I think he'll come back. I don't think there's much more for him there.
Quite funny watching him get sent off, Sergio Roberto. Lose the heat, just be trying to punch Marcelo. I was like, get in line,
Everyone hates. He's so annoying.
I love him. He's a fantastic player, but he's just so infuriating. Between him and Ramos, you're too fit, the pair of them.
Well, then that's the thing. Watching that Bayern game midweek, they were so annoying because just the amount of diving, how softly they'd go down, how they harass the referee every time something happens.
That's a style of play.
It's annoying though, and I think they're so jammy to be in that Champions League final.
Aye, a wee bit. The Champions League this season, as we kind of said at the start, I've kind of watched that more than I've watched anything else over the last couple of weeks. And it has been exciting, loads of goals and all that kind of stuff. But the quality from the really big teams, I mean Real Madrid, Barcelona, they've kind of waned. PSG are just nowhere on it.
I think
Liverpool are there purely on the fact they've got a fantastic counter attack.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what you need in these games. Score some lucky goals and you're there.
Pace.
But it's a cup, isn't it?
Well,
so if you've got good, and it's interesting that the two finalists are not in contention for the league. For example, so it shows that do you focus on one or t'other?
mean, I did wonder that watching the El Clasico.
Mm-hmm.
Darren would have been better placed to can answer it, but we haven't been a Barcelona fan. Would you rather win your league, win the cup, or would you win the Champions League and forget about the league?
I don't know, because the two are such different things. I think, on a European perspective, to punters like us, winning the Champions League is more important. In your own country, I think the league's more important.
Because I don't know who would sort of, if you went into your office,
yes,
between a Barcelona and Real Madrid fan,
yes,
Barca fan goes, "Whoa, we've won the league," and then the Real Madrid fan can swag around and go, "We're
won the Champions
we're
League.
champions of Europe." Yeah,
I know.
not performed in the league.
What do you get more money for? Like,
Oh, the Champions League by a mile.
so there you go. It's probably more important.
Prestige-wise.
But then you're playing the biggest teams from all over Europe. In your league, you're playing in Spain.
You're playing
4
Real
or 5
Madrid,
good teams and a bunch of diddies, effectively.
pretty much.
And the English league's not far off either, to be
Getting
honest.
that way.
I felt gutted for Southampton at the weekend.
I didn't.
They were sucker punched though. Like,
Stoke, Swansea, Burnley.
but I think
Burnley have had a good season, but that might not last.
it would be such a shame for Southampton to go down. I think. How was your game at West Brom? It looked pretty mince on the telly. Not gonna lie.
It was a end of season game for Newcastle.
Okay, right. It was terrible.
I think it was the same against Watford on last Monday.
Right.
But fair enough. We're staying up, which is an absolute miracle given that squad.
What work to do in the summer
Lot of work to do in the
without a
summer.
lot of cash currently? I'm imagining
Actually wants to sell.
he's not going to pump in anything.
Probably not. So it'll be the same squad next season.
He'll have to be clever.
Or leave.
Well, pre-contracts these days are so hard to come by for like good value, or like
For good
free
players,
transfers and stuff like that.
If you can keep a hold of Kennedy, then maybe kind of strengthen.
That'd be
Centre backs are
another.
okay.
That'd be another loan deal though. He would never.
I don't know. I don't think he would make it at Chelsea. He's a good player at our level, but
Be a lot of money.
beyond that, nah, not really.
Don't know.
In Premier League land, not a lot of money.
Yeah, a right old funny team this season, Chelsea. Like they've just not been. They've not been in the conversation really. It looks like are they even going to get Champions League next season? It's kind of
50.
the balance.
I actually think it relies on Liverpool winning the Champions League
Right.
to get 5th place, would effectively get the Champions League
Right.
if Liverpool qualify through the league.
Well, Arsenal are looking at winning the Europa League to get their Champions League spot.
They're out.
Aren't they? Oh, they are.
Yes.
So that's had it. Lol to Wenger.
Never mind. The boy should have left years ago.
That team's in a state. Like, bringing in good players like Lacazette and Aubameyang who haven't really been firing.
Nope, Mesut Ozil's a ghost and has been for a couple of years.
Sanchez has jumped ship. Wilshere is not even good enough to play in the Bournemouth team.
Completely ignored his centre backs, his central midfield. No fight in that team whatsoever.
That's gone. That's a big rebuilding job for Brendan Rodgers when he takes it on.
Well, Stevie G's his number 2.
That would be.
That'd be funny,
If
isn't it?
only. Who does Celtic replace him with though if he does go?
Neil Lennon.
That would. But, yeah.
Guaranteed.
But you can't.
You can.
But that's a full circle move.
It's not.
So Neil Lennon will have left Celtic to try it down
Neil
south.
Lennon won the
that
first.
failed.
Neil Lennon won the first 2 of the 7 so far.
So right, okay.
Comes back to win the 10th.
Let's work on the hypothetical. This does happen. Do you know who Hibs would replace him with?
Good question.
Who's free now?
Yogi Hughes.
Oh, better than that, son. Stubbs would have to come back.
Aye, well. I don't think he would though.
I actually quite like Stubbs. He was a terrible manager. Well,
Not even that good a pundit.
yeah, but I like him. I think he's a good guy. But he won the cup, but couldn't get them promoted. Was that a successful career? I don't know.
Nah, they would need somebody like Neil Lennon to come in and
I
do
don't
the
think
same.
I don't think there's anyone quite like Neil Lennon. Very friendly. Chatted to him at the Development League match. We were chatting about the weather and how cold it was. I was very scared, but came across as friendly enough. But anyway, just before we round off, some breaking news, John.
Uh-oh.
Hayley McQueen has just got engaged, and Chris Boyd and Chris Commons are no doubt in tears by the side of a road somewhere. Absolutely gutted. So on that note, thank you very much for joining us on this kind of very much interim episode. Thank you for sparing some time for us, John.
It's no worries.
So thank you for listening from me, Paul.
Cheers, guys, and all the best to Sir Alex.
All the best to Sir Alex, of course, yes. I'm sure he'll be fine. But, yeah, tune in next week for our Falkirk season review. Even if you're not interested, there'll be a lot of ranting and roving.
Well, it's a belter. Don't worry.
See, you were defensive last year about it, and now you're on my side, the dark side of the pessimism. Anyway, have a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good morning. Bye-bye.